What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And in today's episode, we are back at it on my Twincam FXR. So I am still chasing the damn... I shouldn't be cussing this early into the thing, but it's getting me kind of frustrated. Still got a primary leak. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. It seems like it keeps moving back and forth from the front to the rear, to the front to the rear. And it's driving me nuts because it makes the rear wheel look like absolute crap. Plus it gets up on the paint there, and you know, it's all a mess down there. So we definitely need to address that and get it taken care of. Today is Sunday. My father was just in town, and I just completed the 7th bad boy for him since I've been doing the YouTube thing. But Dad came out here, and we kind of worked together on a bike. It was a lot of fun. I didn't pull the camera out because it was the same old that I've done over and over. But I think it might have been kind of cool just to document working with him. I had a really good time. We went to a baseball game, did a bunch of other really cool stuff. So summertime, like I said in the last video, I know these videos aren't coming out as regularly as they have, but that's because, you know, I'm just trying to make the most out of each day and get out there and enjoy myself, enjoy time with family, and I hope you guys are doing the same. But with all that said, today's Sunday. I need to crack into this thing, because later this week, we got Brannen coming over to do some work on his Dyna. So I need to free up the lift and get ready for that. So let's go ahead and get this primary off. Let's get everything prepped, ready. And then I'm going to take you guys along the whole, whatever it is that we find, the way I'm going to troubleshoot it, my conclusions. And then we're going to take this bike for a ride, hopefully up to Andy at Howland Cycles. And yeah, just see how everything goes, see what he's working on, just hang out, and let's see what we can get into. So let's set the camera up and start pulling this thing apart. All right, we got the outer primary off, and what I'm going to go ahead and do now, the battery's already disconnected. Go ahead and remove the starter, get it out of my way, and then loosen all this up, pull it, and hopefully we'll figure out exactly where the leak's coming from once we have this inner primary removed from the bike. So. Well, we got the primary off, and I really wanted to show you guys real quick because there's been a few of you guys that have commented to make sure I put sealant on the maintenance surfaces. So, as you see, there was definitely RTV on all the maintenance surfaces. So that was not where my leak was at. Other people have suggested still the quad seal or the 5th gear seal. As you see, there's no, you know, reasoning to think that that's leaking. It's super dry. Well, it's hard to see, but it's not dripping out of back here per se. It's not all wet right here. So I don't think it's coming from there. I mean, obviously it's dripping right now. But I even tried building up a little extra sealant right here, which you're not technically supposed to do, but this is where I kept having issues from on my East Coast trip. I mean, you can even see sealant down there. So all that stuff sealed up. What I think it is I think I might have nicked my starter oil seal. But if we come over here to my inner primary, if you look at your main oil seal right here for your output shaft of your transmission, looks pretty clean, pretty dry. I mean, obviously everything's wet right here. This is where the oil is coming out at. It's running down here and it's getting wet. So my main seal looks good, but when you come up here to my starter seal, look how wet it looks, and it also looks a little crooked. I don't know if taking it off and on, if I caught it with something, maybe the starter shaft or something put pressure on it, but that thing is definitely not in there straight. I mean, just looking at it, I can tell that it's kind of cocked out at one end. So I think that's where my leak is at the moment. So we'll clean all the surfaces, we'll clean everything up, get everything prepped and ready. And like I said, I have all new seals to go back into it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything's good to go. See you guys tomorrow. Well, it's another day and we are back at it. I got everything on the bike side cleaned up. Went ahead and tapped all the holes, got all the old sealant and everything else that was inside of that out of it, so that way I can get a nice clean torque on the bolts when I go to reinstall it. Got all the other stuff, so that way if it is still leaking, which fingers crossed after this, hopefully no more leaks, but if it is, hopefully I can be able to see it, find it quicker and make more sense. But like I said, everything that I'm looking at right now is pointing to that starter shaft, and I think a lot of the reasoning was I didn't have it in there nice and straight. As you see, that seal goes in. It's this seal right here. It's got a little lip, but it's got to go in through here, all the way through, and then sit flush against that. I have a little technique I'm going to try to see if it works better than what I did last time. Last time I put something the size of the outer circle and pushed it in. This time my plan is, wherever it just went, so take a socket like this that fits nice and snug on the inside, like so. Put a little fresh oil on here, and then I can just put like an extension on here, and then I'll just try to use this as a seal driver. Also, I told you that I'd be working on Brennan's upcoming, or Brennan's bike will be coming into the shop, and we're going to be doing some upgrades that have already been upgraded on his bike, but switching it all around. And lo and behold, he did it without me. So I'm going to drop a picture of his bike right here. Bada bing. You saw the bike when we went for the maiden voyage of this motorcycle, and he had the Fab 28 pipe, which I personally love. It's one of my favorite, along with just like kind of like an Arlen Ness style breather. He wanted to change it up. Obviously, if you know anything about stainless pipes, even when you polish them, you put a lot of miles on them, they tarnish. They're a lot of upkeep. So the D&D is a full length chrome heat shields pipe, etc., plus being a longer pipe, some have said made more power. I think it was Get Lower did a test on a bunch of pipes probably, 4 years ago or so now. 3-4 years ago. It's been a little while. But they did a kind of a big shootout. Same bike and just kept swapping the pipes out. But the D&D and the full-length HPI definitely made more power. And they contributed a lot of that to the length of the actual pipe itself. So let's get this thing drove in real quick. And then get you guys set up on the camera. Let's see here. See if I can just do all this in one swoop. Instead of the cut and paste. Bring you down. A little bit of oil. Oh, too much oil. Oh, it's leaking all over the tabletop. Go figure. Alright, a little bit of oil. Now I've cleaned this hole out really good, so it should be good to go. And then we're going to set this thing up. I also have a couple sockets underneath here, so this thing is nice and flat. Shouldn't move a lot on me. Ideally, you'd want it in kind of like a press. But let's see what we can do here. Now that sound you heard going from like kind of a more of a whatever to a more of a blunt hit means that should be nice and flush. And looking at it, let me grab the camera. I think we're in there. I think we're nice and flush in there. It looks like it's definitely sitting further down than it was before. Get it in the bike and torque it down for the, I don't know, what's this, the 10th time. Get the camera over here. I'm kind of doing this unedited thing. Been watching a lot of channels. I think one of them is, what's his name? Greasy Gus out of Canada. Really been digging his stuff more or less. and having a lot of fun with watching his videos. So a lot of people, I try to cut out a lot of the stuff, but you know what? Let's just keep it going. Let's just unedited, you know, just letting the camera roll. All right, I am going to cut it off here in a second. Grab that, bring it back over here, and then we'll get going again. All right, you heard me mention it before, cleaning the hardware. Having something kind of like a little bench grinder like this with a wire wheel just makes it a lot easier. So basically just go in there, try to get any Loctite as well as sealant off the threads, and this is what's going to give you a good solid torque. Getting ready to put this thing on. Got my fresh inner to outer, or block to inner gasket on there. As you see, I did a little bit of RTV just around the mating surfaces of where the bolts are going to go through. You don't have to coat. I know people are going to argue with me, but you don't have to coat everything because there isn't a wet system right here. The only thing that's going to possibly leak will be the bolts actually going through the inner primary coming out. So you don't need to go crazy with everything. Now, like I said, I have put some oil on my oil seals so they don't just slide on there all dry. And then you just get it lined up, pushed in flat. Another little trick real quick that Ashley taught me when I was in Connecticut. I always just put the sealant on the threads. He said, don't do that. Put the sealant on the head so it smashes against it, and then it's going to create like its own little gasket here, and then just a little Loctite on threads, which makes way more sense. So that's what we did. Loctite on the end and just sealant on the head part. And then we're going to torque all this. And when I pick this camera back up, all this is going to be done because you guys have already seen me do this 100 times. This has got to be at least my 5th time doing it on this bike. So I'm going to put everything together, torque it. If you need to know torque specs, go back to some of the old videos where I struggled with this thing. Let's button this thing up and let's go take this thing for a ride and see if it's still leaking. Well, it's super noisy here, but I made it to Andy's, and lo and behold, I am still leaking. This back wheel over here, I don't know, you can kind of see a little bit of those little lines on there. It looks like it's still coming from the same spot. I don't get it, man. I really don't get it. But also, before I left, I topped the oil off. And when the oil goes in here, you know, there's a passage that goes like this, but there's also a passage that goes straight down with this little plug, I guess you call it, sitting right here. Anyways, I think some of the oil when I was pouring it in is sitting there, and now it's sitting on the plug and running down the thread. So I'm gonna pull this off, new gasket, seal this plug in a little better, get that cleaned up. The saga continues with this thing. I don't get it. Sorry if I'm shaking too, just it's hot. The sun's not being kind. I think it's like a heat index of 108 today. Let me get this thing off, show you what I'm talking about. And he's got a new gasket. We're gonna find a way to seal that plug up better. All right, like I said, this is the dipstick that I have, and what I think's happening right now is when I go to top it off, oil goes down this passage, and there's a little plug at the bottom that sits down in there. And I think what's going on is I just use Teflon tape, not really thinking much about it. But Andy seems to think maybe because of the chrome coating or whatever, that Teflon tape's not enough of a sealer, and it's actually not really designed to be a sealer. But that we're going to properly put some good sealant on this, put it back in there with a nice gasket, because the gasket that was on here was just kind of like a little, you know, crappy one that came with the kit. So we're going to use a James gasket. It's got like a little silicone bead around it. Put this back in the bike. That should seal up. Over here on Dalton's bike, and he just got done doing a fresh top end on this thing, much like how it was on my blue bike. I love this look. I know it's not an original look, but the two-tone just looks so clean. And then while we were at the Lone Star swap meet, Dalton did pick up a set of 9 spokes. He had 13 spokes on here. It's going with 9 spokes. They're more correct for an FXR as far as I'm concerned. I'm personally not a fan of 13 spokes on an FXR, but to each their own. I think some bikes look good with them, and bikes that are more on the like stock OEM look, which this bike still has factory paint and everything, I just think the 9 spokes do look cleaner. So with that, he upgraded to dual brakes on the front. So Andy is currently, because this is a sealed Brannen set of legs, so this would be your 2000 and up legs with a 99 and down front wheel. You actually got to play with spacing of your calibers a little bit. So he's kind of working all that stuff. Had to make some special wheel spacers, because obviously your wheel spacers do not go inside your wheel seal anymore. Super stoked to see how this thing is going to transpire once it's all done, and I'm sure Dalton's ready to rock and roll on it. Mike's FXR is still in the same state. Really don't know what's going on with this at the moment. I don't know if Mike's put the brakes on it or if they're waiting for parts or whatever. Maybe I'll ask Andy here in a little bit, but we'll figure that out.
I didn't sign up for any of this, okay?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
all I gotta do is hit that pipe with a hammer right there and it won't do it.
That would be good.
Oh, is it touching the shock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because I got 14s.
So I was saying earlier in the video,
Dyna, bro.
got that new Fuel and BA breather system with the D&D full length. The full length shields look really nice.
I would probably space it between the pipe and that bracket a little bit.
Coming up with some ideas. I guess the pipe is kind of making contact with the shocks right now with how tall this bike sits. And then they got to do a little fix over here
Looks like it needs
because
to
this
close
key
this gap up.
got a little wobble that's going to get tightened up hopefully. How's it been going?
Oh, well, I mean, you see it a little loose lately.
Yeah. Making a few little noises.
Yep.
Well, at least it's not leaking, because mine still is.
Yeah, that's a nice little bedpan you got underneath there. I'll have to turn it back. Yeah, this is official attack. That's a cocksucker?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I believe that.
All right, so I didn't even want to put this video out, but I feel like I need to put it out because I need to put something out, but it's not a successful story. I'm gonna need you guys at home to help me figure out what is going on with this thing. So I'm going to go ahead and replace, a lot of folks call it, the quad seal, the fifth gear seal, or whatever you want to call it, that's beyond the race, that is actually stuck on the shaft. I'm going to go ahead and replace that stuff. Even though in my head, the fluid that's coming out is definitely primary fluid. If anyone's ever done Bel-Ray Gear Saver, you know that's got a very distinctive smell, color, all that kind of stuff. And the oil that's coming out is not any of that. So I honestly do not feel that is where my leak is. However, it's the only thing I have not replaced. We're going to pull this thing back down. I don't even know if I'm going to do it on camera. Maybe I'll just pull it down, and then if I figure out what's going on, snap a few clips or whatever. But I'm tired of bringing you guys along for a unsuccessful fix. I feel like a complete failure. I feel like this thing is testing me. And I really want to just get it right before the FXR tour, obviously, because I don't want my rear wheel looking like that. I just don't. I don't. It's a nice bike. I want it to stay looking nice. So you guys at home, if y'all have any other things that I am missing, or if there's just something that you guys have struggled with and found a solution for it. Also, seals. I was on eBay and I was looking at inner primaries to possibly just replace this, because now I'm starting to think maybe there's a crack in it. Maybe there's a small crack that is creating the issue and I'm just not seeing it with my naked eye. But I was noticing with a lot of those inner primaries that they had a different main shaft seal, because my leak is definitely coming from in this area on the backside. It's not a drip when it's on the kickstand, which is another reason why I do not think it's the fifth gear seal, because apparently a lot of times when those things start to leak, the bike's on the kickstand, all your transmission fluid is rushed to that side. From what I've read online, I've never personally had that issue, so I can't speak from experience, but it doesn't leak when it's on the kickstand. It builds up some stuff while riding. When I get home, a lot of that stuff that's collected, if it didn't sling it down the bike, will just drip onto the ground, and there'll be like a dime, nickel, quarter size drop underneath it. So I feel like it's in this area, and this is where I need to address. But I'm going to go ahead. I have a parts list here on the ground of just everything. But if there's a better seal, and also not just a better seal, but I want to replace the race. Maybe the race has got, a flat spot on it or something. I don't know. I want to replace the race. I've seen some people talking about the SNS race that they have. I guess it's, prevents from walking and that sort of stuff. And of course, I think it's called All Balls Racing. They have the one piece or the sealed bearing that eliminates the race altogether. But I've seen some complaints about people not getting quite the mileage out of those as you would with the stock setup. Yes, it does not walk and it does not create issues down the road, but they're having problems with it just kind of wearing out a little prematurely, as well as leaking on its own, even though there is a seal still on the backside, whatever the case may be. So I just need some help. I need someone at home to point me in the right direction, to tell me what I need to be looking at, to get this thing figured out, because man, that's it. That's really the only thing that's driving me nuts. And also, I figured out a fix for this. I got a pretty cool part coming. I was going to kind of build something, and then I started thinking, I was like, there's a company that makes a really, really sick piece that's going to look really, really cool right here. So I'm going to definitely show that piece off. Look like it just shipped out today. And then also, when doing this, I'm going to put the CV carb on it. Before the trip, this Mikuni, I don't know what I'm doing, and I know it was a used Mikuni to start with, so maybe I'm having issues, but the float is starting to stick again. And if I leave the petcock on, it just kind of floods itself. So I'm done with it. But I'm just going to put a CV back on it, just fatten up the jets, and should be good to go for what I do with it. Yeah, sorry this video kind of sucked. It really did. And I hope I don't lose no subscribers over it. I'm not trying to clickbait you guys. I'm not trying to waste y'all's time and just have you guys watching something that is not a decent video. I truly wanted to put out a good video and hope that this worked, but it has discouraged me a little bit, but I'm going to work past it. And then what we're going to do is get this thing sorted. I want to get the RP up on the lift. I want to get the motor and everything out of the RP, get it ready for powder and all that fun stuff. And then I have another bike. I have another bike that I just dropped a little teaser on Instagram. It's on my story, so by the time this video comes out, the story will probably have already been gone. If it's still there and you guys saw it, congratulations. But we got a super, super cool, super, super rare, something I'm super, super excited about. It should be a pretty quick-ish build, you know, rebuild, whatever you want to call it. Since the RP is going to take a little bit of time, still got to gather a bunch of parts for it. This bike should be able to go on the lift, take it down to the part where we need to take it down to, and build it back up. So that's my plan. I do want to announce real quick that I will be in Connecticut again this year for the FXR day. Ashley has granted me the ability to stay with him once again, pick me up at the airport, and even lend me a bike to ride, which is just, man, to have a friend like that is unbelievable. You know what I mean? I hope to one day have enough running motorcycles that if he ever wants to visit here, I can show him the same hospitality, give him a bike to ride, pick him up at the airport, you know, let him stay with me. That's my goal. I'd like to have another second bike that's running and riding, that's reliable. I have my bike. I can show him around, do some cool things, and not just Ashley, but, you know, a lot of you guys, quite a bit of you all that are very, very, I'd consider, you know, great friends, great people. And yeah, I thank each and every one of you guys. So sorry again for the lack of quality content on this video, but we're going to get to it. We're going to get back in it, and we're going to make it happen. With that, you guys take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.